Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FMLFPL Milan.
This Walsh.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, doggy?
Just a couple friends podding.
Couple friends chatting. Shit.
Everyone's got to listen to the you and Dr. Brad fireside. That was so good, dude.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, it felt good. I was really proud of the way it turned out. I hope those of you who listened took at least one thing from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk to him for hours. It was fantastic. And, I think it was I always get nervous to do them at the beginning because I'm just it's a stranger more or less. I mean, I've chatted with him on Discord a ton, but, it always takes me a few minutes to warm up. And then I felt like once we kind of got past that 10-minute mark, we kind of hit a good flow, and it was very enjoyable talking. So I hope that came through in the recording.
Yeah, it's rare, I think, to listen to an FPL thing or read an FPL thing that I feel like would apply to everyone in different ways, maybe, but I think everyone can get something from it. So it's a great job by you. Everyone should listen, and there's going to be a big fireside this week, you and LR, so that's going to be good.
I haven't talked to him in 3 years.
It's going to be great.
See how that goes.
I can't wait. It's going to be great. But this episode, we're doing mid-price, medium price. To a preseason pod, 2 of 4, inching closer.
Yeah. Edging closer. Forever edging.
Are you all in yet?
In terms of what?
Just all in FPL, tinkering every day,
when
freaking
was I
out.
not?
I don't know. Just
been
asking the questions.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying clicking buttons and putting different guys in. And I mean, the thing I keep thinking about since the Brad pod, Dr. Brad, is what is the metric I'm using? Is it fun and perversity? Is it actual doing well? Is it this? Is it that? So I have, depending on what that metric is, I have a few different tinkers just ready to go.
Ready to rip.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, there's still a lot of time between now and the end of the preseason.
So
we'll see where my head goes. Don't tell me what I need.
I think you need multiple teams so you can experiment different avenues, and then you'll find the one that gives you the most joy.
Dude, it's all fun. I'm enjoying the whole process. I need the one ring to rule them all.
I'm in, but I'm not all in yet.
Dude, you're not in. You're fucking...
No, I am. I'm tinkering. I'm in Discord every day, this and that, but I'm not freaking yet. I'm not holy shit, these guys might be in my actual team.
No, that's going to be next week.
They're just imaginary guys for me, so still.
Yeah, that's going to be next week for you.
Yeah, next week's
you don't... There's no crescendo for you. You're at
no, not at
0.
Yeah.
And then you hit panic stations.
Yes.
Oh my God.
6 to midnight. I mean, I'm just fucking freak out.
Yeah.
Every DMing you, what about this? I can get this 5 guy and this 8 guy. And you're just dude,
gosh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever seems good. They're all good.
The only thing I know for fairly certain is Ellis Sims is just my guy.
You got him red.
Oh, he's red flag to fuck in my transferred to Coventry City.
It's almost something different.
It's not going to work here anymore.
He's ascended beyond the flags.
He's transcended past the. He's transcended out of the game to Mario's.
He literally
Mario's
got
castle
out
in the clouds, Bowser's castle,
secret level.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah, that is phenomenal job by you that you got in on him. I looked. Yeah. There was a point maybe last week or something when I looked and I was like, oh, he's not in the game. I'm so happy you have him. That's so
except
you
know what, this is going to turn into why would I not spend 0.5 on Vinicius? Why would I keep it in the bank? And then I'm gonna. Well, I'm sure we'll get there eventually, but
we'll get there next spot.
So should we? Should we kick things off here? Start with goalkeeper, back to front like we usually do.
Yes, sir. So 5-0 keepers. Eclectic bunch here.
There are a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot, and the team quality is very
very varied.
Wide range.
Yeah.
And the keeper quality is as well.
Yeah. So we have Rammers, Emi Martinez, Kepa, Onana, Vicario, the new Spud innings, and then Jose Sa. And Uriah's at 5, but I'm assuming he's not going to be there.
I don't know what the fuck is going on with him, though, because there's no like links or rumors or anything anymore, but he's just playing Flecken and says Flecken's first choice. So I don't know. Flecken's die Deutsch. I don't know what the hell's going on, but who do you like? Anyone here?
If I were to spend $5 million on goalkeeper, which I will most 1,000,000% certainly not do, I mean, I think probably Rammers and Onana would be top of the list just because they do have the fixtures and the settlement, unlike the other 5 million goalkeepers at play here. Spurs, Chelsea, a lot of uncertainty there. And I mean, Sa at 5 is actually somewhat laughable.
It's just a complete joke.
Yeah.
They make these mistakes every year.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, this guy's like 5.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah. And I mean, Emi actually is sort of interesting to me. I mean, if he could go down to like 4.8 or something when they have a good, because he gets saves. He's a couple years removed from that insane season he had. But I mean, they could improve a little bit. But from game week 1, he looks like a non-starter. But what about you? What do you see from this group?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big changes in my tinkers from like our last pod to this pod is like I'm just like kind of out on defense. Like, I just feel like I'm looking around and I keep just being like, who do I trust? Like, I don't trust any of these teams. Like,
with you.
Last year was like City is always the best, always, but we don't really know who to pick. We don't really know who's nailed. Like, if anyone's even nailed, yada yada yada. We know the story. Right. Newcastle, like, dream best imaginable season. Like, all of their 30-year-old defenders stay fit. Like, everything goes right for them. Great defense for half the season. Arsenal, good for half the season. It just goes down really fast. And, like, it's whether you look at the full season or just the second half of the season, it's like, Man United defense wasn't good. Liverpool defense wasn't good. Spurs defense wasn't good. Like, Villa defense wasn't good. Like, Brighton and Palace are above all of those teams. And I'm just like, man, I just keep spending less and less on defense. I just genuinely feel like there's no team where I'm like, they're just a fucking good defense, gonna keep cleans confidently.
Yeah. So like, this was all postmortem shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it took me a while to get there. I think, like I was on Trent and like yada yada yada, but then like get rid of Hendo and Fab, and I'm just, what is going on? I just don't want any of these guys. I mean, I just straight up don't. Yeah,
I agree completely. You can obviously extract any small little 10 game week run and say, they're Man United's gonna really do this because I want this to see this. Or similarly with Arsenal, like, well, they were so good at the beginning of the season, they're fresh and they'll do it again. Like, okay, cool. You know, I still feel like now more than ever, it's just home bankers. Like, forget about it. Pick the home bankers I think City are accepted from this because I think they do elevate to a different level and degree of defensive
consistency.
For years and years, they're always the lowest XG conceded, blah, 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 most clean sheets, even though they didn't have as many last year, right? But other than them, we're looking at just from 2 to 7 in the Premier League, like, fine, whatever. Any of them could clean anyone at any given day. I don't really trust any of them. None of them play like comprehensively defensive football. So I just want to spend as little as possible with those shares in a diverse portfolio and just fucking play fixtures. You know, I mean, they gave us the ability to do this with 5 million at the most assets on all of these teams, basically. And 4 or 5s on many of them. So I haven't really, the only thing I've been somewhat playing and toying around with is like Stones or maybe Chilwell or something silly like that with the 5-5 bracket. But I mean, I like having just these 4 or 5 shitters. You know, Purvis or Gabriel or whatever will come on to the 5 million defenders. But and it's with the goalkeeper. I mean, it's similar, and it's even just looking at this simplistic thing of, okay, well, Raya's 5. He's not going to play, and the other one's 4 or 5. Like, that's pretty cut and dry, easy. You know what I mean?
There's nothing there.
Like that's like that. He's mispriced by 0.5. You know, and I do believe that their goalie should be 5, right? So it's just that's enough of a factor to just go for him or whatever, right? If presuming Raya goes, but I still, again though, do feel like Onana and Ramsdale are defensible picks. Like if you have 0.5,
and
you're happy
the ownership reflects
because of those
it.
fixes. Yeah, those early fixtures are good enough. You know, I mean, 2 home bankers for Man United. You know, that's as good as you're ever going to see. And, Fulham are a mess, like 2 home bankers for Arsenal. Like, that's, I do, I still feel like, we will talk about wildcard, I'm sure, and like after the budget one about when to use it. And, I still feel like you're in pretty good shape if you're wildcarding around game week 3, game week 4.
Wow.
And if you build
I haven't
your
even
team,
thought that far yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like that it happens more and more. Like the longer
I was
the game
really
goes,
early last year.
Yeah, like the longer the game weeks pass, the less valuable the information you gather is.
Yeah.
I mean, by game week 3, you probably have a good enough estimation and evaluation of everything to wildcard. Like best case, you don't, right? Best case, you just nailed it game week 1 and you're good with a few tweaks around the edges and your free transfers. But like I do kind of subscribe more and more to that idea of like just plan for the first few games with your first, like these are still good picks.
Yeah,
right? I mean, I'm not saying like load up with Fulham because they have 3 good fixtures, right? Yeah.
What's funny is last year, if there wasn't a World Cup, which obviously would have changed all of our game week 1 teams a bit probably, but if there wasn't a World Cup and so essentially a free wildcard to use sometime in the first like 10-ish game weeks, the template would not have wildcarded for like months. Like the template was just
what was happening.
Yeah, the template was just really good last year.
Yeah,
it was just
Martinelli and all that shit.
Martinelli, like Trent, Holland. Fuck, I don't even remember. Diaz.
Mo was doing
Trips.
good at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Trip. Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, our team's just good. No pressure. But that's an anomaly, I think. But I was gonna say that I think that like Bolter's question was with the 4-5 goalkeeper landscape not being very exciting or convincing to me, would you start the season with Onana? And I feel like of all of these guys, if I had to pick one, Onana's the most interesting to me because as opposed to Spurs where like the manager and the system's changing, so like their numbers last season don't really mean anything to me. I mean, United do kind of have that special sauce of like they still kind of concede a lot of shots, like middle of the league, but they're bad shots. And even though their XG against isn't very good, it's like 8th or something. It's the same as Liverpool, to put it in perspective. They kept cleans against the bad teams. And so, like you said, with that run of fixtures, I'm like, like they could maybe just keep some cleans. He'll get some saves. He'll make a bunch of passes. Maybe he'll get some bonus. Like I could see that. So,
yeah. And I mean, their run does extend a little bit further. I mean, they have Burnley, they have Home Palace. I mean, they have Sheffield United into 9. So, I mean, they're seeing like a lot of the promoted teams up to. So, you're not just dead ending yourself to like, oh, then they're fucked and I'm fucked at goalie if they do, after the first 3 gamings. Yeah, I agree. I think the other thing too here is, I mean, I really hate Shaw as a pick, and I think that their defenders, like when I'm really just we're narrowing it between him and Rammers, right? And Onana should conceivably do well on bonus points with his pass completion percentage. I mean, that's hypothetical, but I think it's like somewhat makes sense.
It's founded on some reality there. Yeah,
some basis in reality. But like looking across their defense, like Dalot, like we don't even know if he's gonna play. 1B is like Renaissance, who knows? And then it's little tiny Martinez, and then Varane, who's he's fit now, but he might not be fit by halftime of the first game, right? So you're not looking there like holy shit. Like well, if I don't get I get one of them, right? Versus with Arsenal, right? I mean,
so many picks.
They're all 5. They're all 5. So you get Rammers, and Rammers doesn't do fucking saves or bonus or
that's what I was
going
to bring up when you were done. It's like Arsenal don't have that special sauce, right? Like their shot suppression was like almost as good as City's for the year, even though they do concede like big chances, and that's usually the the goals that they let up in the second half. But yeah, so he's not racking up saves. He's Ederson light. He's like a worse Ederson. It's just like, it seems like a disaster to me.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I don't like, Kepa, Vicario. I don't think we need to spend time talking there, right? I think we're good here.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll defense.
Should we just go to Arsenal since you were just talking about them? They have, so we're just doing 5-0s today.
Just 5s, right?
Yeah, just 5s.
Okay.
So Arsenal are Gabriel, Saliba, Zinchenko, and Timber.
Timber.
Yeah. Timber.
Why would they put J Timber for his name? Is there a competition for the Timber?
They
do the weirdest
I
shit,
noticed
dude.
a couple of those when I was like bouncing around. It's like, why is this guy's first initial there? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. Maybe it's like a personal request or something. I don't know.
We heard from Timber's agent. He needs to be J.
I mean, like Jota's Diogo J.
Actual?
Yeah.
Don't like that.
It's so bizarre.
He's been
Jota.
Diogo Jota, full name last year. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Arsenal 5-0s. What do you? I mean, I've had Gabriel on my team for a while, but I've started to scrutinize that. I'm at the point where I'm scrutinizing the things. But how are you saying this?
I need to analyze why my vibes are bad on these, but I'm just like, I don't know if I trust them for cleans. I think it's just recency. They were so bad in the second half of the season at keeping cleans, and they just conceded big chances nonstop. And their big change is like, okay, Rice is better than Partey, but Partey is really good. And then Kai is like a negative in defense, right? Like, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence for cleans for me. I also similarly had like Zinchenko or Saliba, or, Gab is the dongiest of all of them. So I think that's why he's the highest owned. But I mean, they're all good, right? They're all good picks. Well, except Timber.
Timber's obviously not a pick. I think I'm past the point of do I trust? Like, I don't trust anybody. The only team I trust is City. So I'm just like, that's how much more do I trust him to 4 or 5 Villa defender? And I don't know if it's 0.5. That's kind of what what I keep coming down to. But then I'm like, well, also if you're looking at just the game theory standpoint, Arsenal defense is so highly owned. Like, it's the crazy overall percentage of how many teams have an Arsenal defender. I mean, it's like Holland. So look, you're not going to get murdered by, missing a clean or two in the first couple game weeks. It's not going to be good. Yeah. But, if you are, a little bit more confident on your read there, right? Where they're going to slide. They are playing with a 6 and 5 attackers, and they're going to be, Holy and Ropey at the beginning. Yeah. That could be a bet to make. I'm just going to swerve it all and, do this other thing instead. I'm fine with that. Yeah. But it's still just those fixtures, like home NFO, at Palace, home Fulham. It's like
huge.
They can't not have one clean sheet. That's not possible.
Yeah, it's pretty much not possible. Yeah.
So,
it would take a freak pen.
Yeah. 2 is probably like likely, I would say. 3 would be the extreme use case. Like that obviously is Dreamland. It's possible, but it's, maybe it's like 8% or something or less. Yeah. But even that, like that is probably good enough where it's like not having one is just a little bit overthinking, because I don't feel confident in that second slide. Like they're going to just slide and have a swoon and they're not going to be good anymore just because Kai's playing 8 instead of, whatever. Right.
Yeah. It's not a matter of like good, bad. It's like, do I trust them at right there? City's 0.5 more than all their guys, right? And I'm like,
well, they're not at that level and shit.
Right. Yeah.
Kanji. I mean, we'll get there.
Who knows? But it's like, I just don't feel confident, but I hear you. It's like, is it 0.5 more than the Newcastle, than the Villa, than a Brighton,
Power, Botman, or Pinnock,
and I just think that's really close. I don't know which way to make of it. And I mean, if you're going with the sort of how I approached last season of like, and I think it's really common across FPL of like, just gonna play it safe and template to start. I'll do differentials and change captains later in the season and try and gain there. And obviously that worked well for me. Then obviously you should have one of these guys. right? Because you mentioned the ownership. Right? Ramsdale's 25, Gabriel's 18%, Saliba's 14%, Zinchenko's 12%, White's 10%. It's like, it's insane.
I don't know. I'm not good at math, but that sounds like a high number. All that together, right?
It's a very high fucking number, and that's going to be against you. And it's not even just those first three, right? I mean, home Man United is not a good clean sheet in Game Week 4, but then it's at Everton. Home Spurs is, usually goal.
Well, it's bad. No, but I think that's bad. Like that is, I think the saving grace.
I don't think at Everton is bad.
I do. I think they don't usually not score at Goodison. I think that's where I think it is a little bit different. Where we were talking earlier about United or whatever. I think that Ford at 7 is deceptively bad for clean sheets.
Really?
So yeah, I do. I do.
So
I don't
Everton.
read. Yeah, I am too. But I just feel like Goodison is just. Yeah. I don't know.
They usually score.
Yeah, a set piece or something. Like I just don't feel like they're going to get done to 0 there. Whatever. Those 4 games are not like, oh, there's 2+ cleans there where you're suddenly in this delusional status.
But it's not bad enough to be like, I need a bench Gabriel.
No.
Right? It's like you're still just like good. You're fine.
Blindly starting every game.
He could get a goal in one of those 4 or whatever. It's fine. It's good.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But is it Gabriel?
I was gonna ask, the reason you chose Gabriel, I assume, is for his goal threat? Because you hate him.
I do hate him. I think he's a bad player.
Like you fucking hate him. Number one hater.
I'm a big Zinchenko guy. We know that.
Yeah.
So I mean, What's
happening?
I haven't really zoned in clear. I haven't focused my entire eye on that spot of my team really yet.
You're still powering up.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to have a 5 million player there. I have no idea, right? But
yeah.
I mean, it's the security of the minutes. It is, the underlying goal threat on set pieces, basically. And, I definitely think he's a better FPL pick than Saliba for those reasons.
Saliba's better on bones.
Yeah, I just think it's too marginal.
Yeah, but, I don't know, a goal just changes it so much,
Yeah, especially because they score 1 million goals all the time. So, edging your center back partner on pass completion means a lot more when you're on Everton than when you are on Arsenal, when you're typically getting kind of shouldered out of bonus anyway.
I wonder what Zinchenko is going to do. There's so much change over this year. I feel like there's more than usual. There's every team except City, but still sort of City, are wow, what are they going to do? Because you want Kai forward, right? You never want to see, Kai can't pass nearly as well as Xhaka. And that might be controversial, but it's not even close. So, you don't want Kai midfielding. You want Zinchenko doing that, right? I feel like Zinchenko's going to play DM, basically, double pivot with Rice.
And he's not going to be overlapping or getting into the edge.
Yeah, so the assists, the goals, when he popped up a little bit last season, maybe that's a thing of the past. Maybe that's not the role this year.
Yeah,
they don't need that from him.
Yeah, his games where he might be looking better from that standpoint might be those games, like the game against United, when maybe they're playing Partey and
Partey and
something
Rice.
like that, right?
Yeah,
but
that lets him go forward, right?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen any preseason with Zinchenko, what he's up to or what he's asked. So we'll have a little bit more information as the season approaches, I think. But to me, it's more just he's so Swiss Army knife adaptable and just so good, and I love him so much that I just love having him. I just feel like he could do everything, anything.
And
you really
when he
need.
was starting before he got hurt, I mean, I feel like he was making 100 passes a game. Every game it was just oh my God, he's just on 1 million more bonus than everyone. But
he was
am I
really
misremembering?
Good. No, he was really good for 12-ish games, and then he was really bad for 6-ish games.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the season where he just fell apart when the team was falling apart. But, I mean, the other thing with Zinchenko too is he was in every team, game week 1 last year, he was 5 and he was the guy that everyone was interested in when, he's he got hurt really, I think he got hurt right away, but he got
I think it was him or trips was a common thing, right?
Yeah,
they were both 5 and both good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just I feel like you're still buying him a little bit on the fade, and I just think he's such a good player. So, It's that there's not a lot of fun foundation here. I'm just waxing lyrical because I like him.
No, you're right, though. I mean, first half of the season, I mean, he didn't play that much. He only started 7 games in the pre-World Cup because he got hurt so early.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like bossing Bones. Best on the team.
Yeah.
Better than any other defender, any attacker, anything, and underline.
I mean, it is disconcerting. Like, I think I popped up in my news app like the other day or something, and it was like Zinchenko's requesting like tanks for Ukraine. I'm just like,
I'm not
fucking still happening. Like, are we?
He's just
like,
hurt.
He's on the fighting. He's like
hospital bed
war.
On his phone, trying to make things happen.
I'm like, do I need my FPL player to be worried about like getting aircraft carriers in their country or whatever? That's not the right thing, but you know what I mean.
He seems to be hurt a lot. He's just always hurt.
It seems to be. He is.
He just is. Yeah. So that is a concern.
Yeah. All right.
Do you think you'll start with one of these guys?
I don't know. It's dicey. It's a 50-50 call, I think, at this point. It really is.
For me, let's just jump to Brighton really quick, because for me lately, I've just been like, Estupiñán's just better, in my opinion.
Better than ours guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's 5-0, Dunk's 5-0.
Talk me through that.
I mean, I think we forget because they were so overwhelmingly attractive and good at defending. Good at attacking, that we forget that they were also top 4 defense last season. They were really good in underlying XG, shots, all that stuff. And their keepers are just bad. Like, Steele was bad. We know Bob's always bad. And it's just like, I don't know. They got this guy. He's supposed to be highly rated. It wasn't cheap. And like Estupiñán, as opposed to Zinchenko, as opposed to Ben White, or as opposed to fucking half the fullbacks in the game, is actually so fucking attacking and plays 90 every game and like gets in the box and is in the final third all the time. And that's good.
Yeah, those are good qualities. I mean, it is, a little concerning to me, but their defense, because they do the high line thing, and they're like City, where they give up few chances a game. The chances they give up are fucking huge chances.
Yeah.
So maybe this kid they bought, is gonna be a really good shot stopper in those moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why. Purvis is on 50% of the teams. There's a reason why. I mean, they have home Luton, at Wolves, and then home Western. It's a good run.
Give me that.
And yeah. I mean, they did finish well defensively. I mean, what about the Caicedo thing though? Are you not worried about that?
That I am worried about. I am worried about that. But there was a recent thing where from Deserves was just like, as far as I know, he's our player. Like, we don't need to sell him. I don't know what's going on there. But that's obviously concerning if they just rip their entire midfield to shreds.
Yeah.
But for now, I feel good about it. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too about him though that I am looking at is he worth 0.5 more than Veltman or Webster? I don't
I think he is.
That. Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure yet about that.
I got to tell you from personal experience, I didn't think he was worth it over Dunk.
I know.
And that was like
didn't go well.
40 points in the negative or something. Yeah. But
you don't want to see that again.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to see that again. But I just think the attacking stuff is very real. And I think a theme of this episode for me is going to be like, none of these fullbacks actually fucking attack. Like, there's actually like the trend in the league is like fullbacks get forward less, fullbacks cross less, fullbacks invert, all this shit. And there's less guys like Estupiñán, who's like basically a Robbo type of left back.
In
who's
the
just like
of old, not
of old.
Of current. Yeah,
like he's playing 1-2s with Mitoma. He runs past Mitoma into the box. Like, it's rare.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, I have Pervening in my team. He's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Again, though, not convinced. Like, I'm just not. I'm not convinced there.
I get DMs. You probably get DMs or just randoms in festival on our Discord of just like, who do you think are like the nailed players in your team? I'm just like, hey, get out of my face.
Branthwaite.
What are you talking about?
Ellis Sims and Jared Branthwaite.
You think someone's Sims is nailed.
The only nailers.
But like, you think I have someone nailed and you know nothing of me.
You know nothing.
You call yourself a fan? You think that there's a nailed player in my team? You've been listening to this pod
for years?
It's unbelievable.
My goodness gracious. Yeah. But yeah, Perv, good pick.
Really good pick.
51% of teams, though, is unbelievable to me.
I did not know that. He's the highest owned defender in the game.
He's like the second highest owned player in the game.
To be fair, I don't think we actually discussed it, but 5-0 is not what I would have guessed.
Yeah, you think 5-5 should have been there for him?
Yeah. With how attacking he is?
I mean,
Dude,
I think
played...
that doesn't... No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. It doesn't go in line with the overall pricing of the defense, though, period, I think. Because who's spending 5-5 on Purvis?
I think people would still own him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I really do.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, that's a testament to what you think of him as a pick, then, if you think that strongly, right? That you like him a lot.
I mean, Shaw is 5-5 and he's 33% owned.
Well, Man United tax,
Man United tax. So say take 25% off that. It's still absurd.
No, it's a fucking sham. It's shambolic how many teams he's in. It's a joke. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So some of their fives. Alex Moreno is also somewhat Purvis.
He's hurt, right? Yeah, but I do love him. Yeah,
yeah. He might be back somewhere around game week 1, but it looks like he might not be ready. To me, very similar to Perv, but I still I trust the Villa defense more than Brighton.
He had surgery in May on his hamstring.
Yeah, it's not good.
Out
you don't want to have
2 to
hamstring
3
surgery.
months.
Yeah, you don't want hamstring surgery.
This is a complete stay away nightmare.
No, it is completely. It completely is. I was seeing some quotes. I don't recall exactly the sauce, but that he's getting close now. And
Okay.
But I mean, he will be.
He's really attacking.
There will be some type of reckoning for him being in teams eventually because he is also
crazy attacking.
Watching them play, he's like their creative hub almost, and he gets in the box like a striker. So I still like him a lot at $5 million.
I do too. I do too. I never got him last year at some point. Somehow, I feel like I shouted him every fucking week after the World Cup. I was like, he's so attacking.
Yeah, and he was 4-5 last year. I think there was just awkwardness with fixtures and double game week, so he couldn't use transfers. They didn't double, Villa didn't double last year.
And he got subbed at 60 minutes every game, and for Dean, I don't know, that was weird.
Yeah, which is maybe not terrible. Dean will come on to later. Me at $5 million, just non-starter. It doesn't make any sense there.
Yeah.
What about Dunk though? I mean, because I mean, looking at Brighton,
I glossed over Dunk.
At large. Yeah, I mean, just looking more at large at Brighton because things that we were talking about. I think with Arsenal and Man United, it would be hollow not to echo them with Brighton. They play home Lutonites at Wolves and then home Western, which is to me, I don't see. I think that's the other thing too. I was talking on Discord with someone, but I don't see at Molineux and home Western as that great clean sheet fixtures, just vacuumous, because I find even though Wolves are in some disarray, they do get shut out at Molineux occasionally, but it's still just a tough place to play. I don't know. I feel like they have 1-1 draws there all the time. And then home Western, when they're playing on the counter and getting to do the Bo and Antonio things, it's a good fixture. You're going to start your defender in that fixture every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Either way, these are 3 on paper good fixtures.
Yeah.
Is there a case for doubling here?
It's definitely a shout that I have not considered. I don't know what happened to Dunk and his goals. Maybe he's just getting older and just winning less headers, but he's getting the same shots per 90 roughly in line. And his XG has fallen a little bit, but not that much, but it swings so much for defenders, right? Because it's he gets one fucking point blank header and that bumps his numbers up so much because they get so few shots, right? He gets 20 shots a season. It's a shout. It's a shout. I don't hate that. I mean, I haven't
it doesn't even have to necessarily be Dunk. I mean, it
could be a 4-5.
I mean, I think the Veltman Webster stuff is a little bit sketchy because he's playing fucking gross at right back. Veltman might not start. I mean, this is also a manager that would just start Veltman sub mid half. That would be they could be winning 2-0, just sub Veltman and put some piece of shit. Who knows, right? So, but other than I don't know if we're gonna really go into game week 1 feeling terribly confident, even though they have 8 defenders or even less 6 defenders on the whole team. Who's gonna start? But I mean, with Dunk, I think there's something to be said about they lose the Duff man, they lose any real other They Neil Maupay's playing. Like, they have no other good aerial threats. I feel like when teams have that and teams can really hone in on like the one guy, that they really suffer. They haven't had any good, like, Welbeck barely ever plays. He's also just sort of like disappears on set pieces. They're like they just like don't have any other good threats. So maybe it's just like, easier to defend him because that's what teams are able to do.
It's old school, right? But my gut is like, I just want to like diversify. Right, if we don't trust anyone, I want to diversify.
Why make extra bets when you can?
Why
diversify?
Make extra bets? Yeah, that's kind of my gut.
I'm with you on that. that. Okay. And then
Chelsea.
I think Chelsea. I think Cucurella and Tilv we can kind of gloss over. It looks like Cucurella is, who knows if he's going to be playing, and then Tilv looks old as shit, and they're going to have a 4-5 guy, and the 5-5 guys are interested.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about him.
I think Konate, though. I do want to talk to you about Konate more.
Yeah, Konate is interesting.
I think maybe this isn't going to be necessarily like he's a game week 1 pick.
Yeah, I don't think he's a game week 1 pick.
Yeah, but I think just more broadly speaking, right? At $5 million, we both expect him to be in their first choice best 11 by every like a million miles.
100%.
I mean, it's not insane to start with him. I don't think with the Bournemouth game week 2, like you could just bench him against Chelsea.
Rotate him.
At Newcastle, it's not good, but that could just be kind of like a non-game. I mean, who knows what they're going to set up
Newcastle
for out there.
are really hard to project, yeah.
And then like they have a somewhat decent run, but I guess it's more of like, where do you see the Liverpool defense settling? Like, are they going to go back to where they were 2 years ago? And I don't know. I mean, how are you saying Konate at $5 million?
I don't think so. I mean, Trent was in every tinker of mine, and he's been taken out of every tinker of mine. I mean, I think it's a giant... Well, it's two things. I think it's good long-term for the team to sell Hendo and Fabinho. Like, it's good for rebuilding the team to be competitive in a year or two. But I think it's just a very big red flag for this year. I think it like greatly lowers my expectations for this season. No matter who they bring in, it's fucking 3 weeks away. It's maybe less. I don't even know. And they weren't really a good defense at all last year. Even in that stretch when they like ended the season winning a lot of games, it wasn't on the back of the defense. It got better, but it wasn't how it was when they were genuinely keeping up with City. I mean, like Trent's literally started at the 6 in the last 2 games in preseason. I know it's preseason, but there's no one there. Thiago's hurt. Bajcetic is hurt. The 2 new mids are not number 6s, and Connor Bradley's been playing right back. So Trent is just like the 6. I'm just like, what is going on? Like it's just such disarray to me right now. But I do agree with you. I don't think it's a diabolical game week 1 because, you bench him at Chelsea, probably bench him at Newcastle, but there's a lot of home games, starting game week 4. And there's some decent aways, like at Wolves, you start him. Home West Ham, obviously great. In 9-10, home Everton, home NFO. I think he's a donger. I mean, he hasn't proven it in the Premier League yet, but he has in the Champions League. I think he's going to get goals. Like, he wins a lot of fucking headers.
Incredible on corners. Like,
he's
jumps
very
8 feet in the air
on corners. And like, he's going to be good on bones. Though. Yeah, well, fitness, but he's fit now, so don't worry about it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm relatively low. I'm low enough on the defense that I'm like, I'm not spending $8 million on a guy there, But the $5 million, I think, is more reasonable. Yeah, it's more reasonable.
Okay.
I think rotation might be like back. I mean, who knows? But like, it used to be everything. It used to be like maybe you have one defender you start every game and every other defender you rotate.
Well, we'll see.
Back in the day.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
It's just like you said, though. I mean, it's home bankers, right?
But there's you're saying in the FPL game. I thought you were meant for Liverpool.
Oh, not for Liverpool. Not for Liverpool. I'm talking about in FPL. No, Konate's going to start over Matip every game when he's fit.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day for the uninitiated, you have 5-4-5 defenders, and you're just starting 3 from them whoever plays a good fixture. And
you're making a matrix of like, okay, I need a guy who starts game week 3 because this team's at City, and I need a guy who has a good game week 7 because this guy's at Liverpool, and then that's it. That's your rotation.
That might be back.
Yeah.
We'll
It is fun, I have to say. Like from a game
watching
perspective, it's way more fun
guys.
to have different guys on different teams, and you make more decisions, which is good, right? Like you're more of an active manager.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a reason to care about Everton versus Wolves on Monday Night Football because you're starting fucking Tarkowski or whatever.
Branthwaite's in, the
Branthening is in. So, I mean, from an enjoyment perspective, it's a lot more fun than just starting these 2 or 3 defenders every single game week and So City have, Walker looks like he's out the door. Laporte looks like he's out the door. But Akanji and Ake are both still very much in the door at $5 million. Anything there?
Probably.
Yeah.
Gvardiol deal is up in the air now. I don't know what the fuck happened there. They're like, we got enough money from Soboslai. Klopp just low-key sneaking that one in to deny Pep Gvardiol, maybe. I don't know. Is it worth a risk? Here's the thing. Cancelo's still there.
He played yesterday.
He played.
Yeah.
So, like...
I can't see a redemption arc from him. I mean, this looks like shop window shit to me. Like, he's going to go to fucking Sporting or Benfica, like, tomorrow.
I guess, but there's no rumors.
Yeah.
Usually there would be.
Yeah. His agent would be
I mean, he could have just come back with his tail between his legs and just be like, I'm so sorry. I really wish I was part of the treble because
he's
I had
still
a fucking
world-class
nightmare.
Player.
He's incredible.
He's one of the best players in the world.
He played and instantly assisted Holland. It was just like, remember when they did that for the first half of last season? Yeah. Every fucking game. Is
Cancelo back on the menu?
He's not.
Stranger things have happened between now and... He's not. All right. Well, let's. But
I don't know who to get, Akanji or Ake. Like, you think I have the answer to that?
Sorry, it's too bad we don't have a pod to talk about this.
Do you have the answer to that? Like, who do you like?
Well, I think Ake. Yeah, I think Ake is kind of interesting because it depends on what you read into the tea leaves with Cancelo, but they don't really have competition for a spot unless they play the kid, or Sergio Gomez or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with Akanji, they'd have Ruben, they have Stones. I mean, he can play, obviously, Akanji can play right back also. So he has some flexibility there, but...
Or center back.
Yeah, he can play right side center back or right back, assuming that Walker goes. It's still unimaginable to me that they don't buy someone else from between now and then. Like, they have to buy
they have unlimited money. They are getting rid of Laporte. They're getting rid of Walker. Yeah. I think they'll definitely buy someone,
I think the only thing I could imagine... If they don't buy anyone... I'm going to put Cancelo on my team because I think that would tell me that he's going to do the creativity thing with Cancelo on the left. He's just like, I'll do this again. And then he'll play the center back on the right side. And it's going to be Ruben, Stones, Akanji, Rico Lewis, whatever.
He could do it the other way around also if he wants. He could do Ake left back, but AKA my center back guy, and then Cancelo right back. Like it works either way.
I don't know. I feel like he never did that though, did he? He used to. Like he was always doing left back with Cancelo because they have Walker.
I don't really remember, to be honest.
Either way, that I think that's in the back of my mind a little bit.
But yeah, Ake was clearly first choice down the stretch last season.
Yeah,
he started all those Champions League games
because their first choice team was playing in other competitions.
Right. He started all the Champions League games and he started all the Premier League games except for he got hurt 1 or 2 or something like that. So
yeah.
Yeah, he had a good season. Pep likes him. Pep trusts him.
It's just back to that kind of thing. Like, do you buy early season cleans from City because they are focused and they don't play any other competitions and everybody on their team is looking over their shoulder knowing that one bad performance, they might not play again for a month from the defense?
I think I buy early season cleans. I bought them last year and it profited.
Yeah, I think that's a really reasonable perspective to take. So, the other aspect
and they have the fixtures.
To that,
they have incredible fixtures.
Incredible fixtures for
they
clean
have the
sheets.
Best,
actually,
legit
they have the best
fixtures in the league. They're at Burnley, home Newcastle, at Sheffield, home Fulham, at West Ham, home NFO, at Wolves.
Yeah, you could tell me 5 clean, 7 Like, yeah, for sure.
Jesus fucking Christ. Ederson's slowly crawling into my team right now.
Forget about that. But I think it looks back to also, with the Ake, Akanji, Stony Boy, Ruban, whatever. If you're doing that, you can't have, a Luton 4 million defender and a Burnley 4 million defender on your bench. Like, you need to be covering yourself, because will they play 0 minutes or will they play 8? You got that question mark. But ultimately, if they're not starting, you have to cover yourself a little bit with somebody who plays behind them if you're going for that. But I think it's perfectly defensible, honestly.
I agree.
And I've also been thinking also more about last year, game week 1, all of the nerds on our Discord who follow the math algorithm calculus, AP calculus, they were tripling up on City defense and they had no attack.
Yep. It's not bad.
Why not this year?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that didn't work is because Haaland.
Well, it worked.
Well,
I mean, the points from the defenders.
Yes, the points from the defenders,
well.
But denying Haaland made them fuck their whole teams up and blah blah blah.
From that standpoint,
but I mean, it worked. They got cleans. I mentioned it last week when we were talking about Ederson and Stones and all that shit. I was like Walker started all the games, Cancelo started all the games, Ederson started all the games, and they kept I don't remember what it was, 4 of 6 cleans or something crazy like that. But
they've never been this cheap.
I just want to remind you that also in the postmortem,
I know, no,
you said the words
under any circumstance.
Under any circumstances, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's bad. It's gonna piss you off. So I just want to remind you.
I appreciate it. I know. Show me the receipts. Take it. Receipts.
Yeah, I'll clip it and throw it into the pod.
Yeah.
Other Manchester team. We talked about these guys briefly. Yeah, I mean, they did keep the most clean.
Minutes. We're still talking about defense.
Our preseason pods are always so long because there's just so many possibilities. That's why it's the most fun time of the year.
Yeah,
everyone's on the table. To be
alive. Okay.
Yeah, I mean they're fine. They like I mentioned it earlier. They kept the cleans in games where you'd expect them to keep the cleans, and they were genuinely bad in the games where you would bench them or not expect to clean, and they conceded lots of goals and lots of chances. So if you're believing that will be the case again, then and you don't want to go on Nana, you want to go 4-5 keeper or whatever, you could get one of these 5-0 guys and just start them in the good ones, rotate. Again, we mentioned the rotation, and you'll probably do fine. But none of them particularly excite me or seem like great picks or anything.
Yeah, I'm out on this group for sure. Yeah. I feel like it's just the juice is not worth the squeeze. I'd rather find a 4-5 guy, or I mean, they also have Martinez is 5'2", and Varane is clinically allergic to putting his body about anything to try and win a header in the box. Forget about that.
Yeah.
I mean, the lack of attacking. Yeah, you're not literal getting 6 points. That's the fucking ceiling is 6 or usually maybe 5 with Martinez. I feel like he's fucking whatever, but so I'm not interested there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem worth it.
Yeah. I do want to just spend one moment talking about the Spud innings.
Yeah, I mean Perisic and Perisic, right?
I want to talk about Perisic.
I didn't even know he was still there.
He's still there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Has he been playing?
I think he played
Preseason?
a half. I think he played a half in one of their Australian
I think
games.
they've only had one friendly, and Poro played half also at right back.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was playing forward also. I don't know what position he was playing. I have no idea. But I just feel like
post-hype.
Perisic is a fucking lad.
Post-hype.
Yeah, you have post hype going for you, but I think he's just a fucking lad. And Ange
likes a lad.
I feel like he's going to appreciate just his, insanity. He
played left wing.
Left wing, love it.
He played left wing, 49 minutes, got an assist, 8 key passes, created everything ever.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He's such a good player. I mean, he's been like the best player on the Croatian national team for a decade, with second best with Modric or whatever. But I mean, he's adaptable. He is a smart, very capable, tactical player. He's played in every system
he can play.
He can play anywhere.
8 positions or something. Yeah.
And like when you're looking at the Spud team, I don't know. I feel like there might be something there with him. I've been getting more interested and curious about him because of these attributes of him, and also just feel like he's so good. He's getting up there in age. Yeah. I mean, the thing we were worried about last year with Conte and shit was like, oh, they have all these games. It's going to be rotation central, whatever. He still had 9 returns in 2,000 minutes, which is unbelievable.
The only reason he was a bad pick last year is because their defense was atrocious and their keepers were atrocious. And so he got 6 cleans in 2,000 minutes.
Yeah, which is like relegation form. Relegation.
But
being on
everything else, he got a goal and 8 assists in 2,000 minutes.
Yeah.
Fucking good. Trent, like it's incredible.
And he left more on the table. I mean, how many times did we see those goals and he's just like fucking whiffing? Yeah. It was insane.
Liverpool game, I remember him hitting the post from like 1 foot out.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at the Spurs defense as being like, okay, it's probably
that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, it's not going to look good for cleans.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he's playing actually somewhat out of position, like we would expect, I mean, he's obviously not going to be playing fullback if he's playing a back 4. I don't know how he gets in the team. I mean, it might be a trickle down with Kane. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably a Kane trickle down.
Yeah,
where
Kane
like
out, trickle down.
Son, striker, and he likes him as one of his wingers over Rich or whatever. So it's
which is very conceivable to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like the Kane domino is ready to fall,
Yeah. And I mean, they still do play like Bournemouth, Burnley, Sheffield United, 3-4-5. I mean, it's not like these are fixtures that they can't keep a clean sheet in. But I think he's interesting is all I'm going to say.
I totally agree. And you know that I'm a Porro mega fan
you're
too.
A Porro ultra.
It's unfortunate that they're in a back 4. It takes away a lot of his potential, excitement as a pick because he's such a bad defender and he probably won't last. But I mean, I don't expect the defense to be good, but I do expect them to score goals and play open games and be attacking and be fun. And there's going to be points there. I definitely think it's worth like keeping an eye on these guys. And then the last guy is Shar, who struggles because his teammate is 4-5 and nailed. But I do have to say, like, shout out to Shar. Like, he is so much more attacking than most, maybe all center backs in the league. I mean, this guy fucking like hits the post, takes like really good shots from 20 yards that hit the bar. Like, he's a donger. And magically he stayed fit for 36 games last season. I have no idea. It's probably a career high. He's 30. He's probably going to be injured really soon. But just wanted to shout him out for his attacking because it's real.
Yeah. I mean, it's just tough to fit him in your team. Looking at
especially with their fixtures. They just
with Botman being bad. Cheaper and trips. I mean, All right.
Okay, mids.
So what are we doing here price wise?
6.5 to 8.
Oh my god! All right.
We just have a couple more hours left. I think probably. There's so many guys, dude. It's overwhelming.
Oh my goodness!
It's actually overwhelming.
All right, so let's start with Martinelli here at the 8 bracket.
Yeah. So Arsenal has Martinelli 8, Kai 7.5, Trossard 7. Trossard we don't need to talk about.
Agree. So I mean, how are you seeing Martinelli? You're a Martinelli stan. I feel like.
He was the first of the Arsenal guys that I initially just put in my team. Like, wow, I can't believe he's 0.5 cheaper than Saka and Odegaard. Like, doesn't make sense to me. He's just as good. Like, he's a stonger.
Yeah.
Looking a little deeper, as I like to do, advanced stats and all that stuff. I mean, he's always been an under his XG finisher.
Yeah.
He's just been a bad finisher. And then last year, he just popped off. He was just hot for a year. And I remember even a bunch of like goals where I was just like, Jesus, that shouldn't have gone in type of moments. Right?
Yeah, like a deflection on target shot that deflects through a 5-hole or something.
Yeah, like keeper fucks it. Like, I don't know. So I was like, okay. If he comes back down to earth, that's, a lot of goals that weren't there. I don't know. But all that said, great pick. It's not like I don't think he's a good pick. I mean, he's going to score double-digit goals. He's $8 million on a good team.
Especially with the Jesus like split personality of him playing striker more when Jesus covers on the left. When he's playing, there's that whole thing going for him.
And I'd imagine Kai is good for him too, right? As opposed to Xhaka, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Xhaka is a really good passer, but maybe it's someone else to link with at least.
I think I imagine it being better strictly because it's someone else that defenses have to actually worry about.
Yeah.
And if they can get an understanding and, just because, maybe Kai makes the dummy run and Martinelli comes a little bit like more shallow at the edge of the box or something, like you can work with him more than Xhaka's just like a freight train. If he's going to get in the box, he's going to make this run diagonally straight and he can't even fucking stop himself.
Yep. And he's not getting back. He's there. No, he's parking in the box.
He's going to fall down. Fake injury. Fake injury. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Martinelli, I think still is just at $8 million cheaper than the rest. Yeah. He's just a good pick.
Yeah.
He's been in and out of my teams, pretty consistently in all my button clicking. But yeah, I think there is something to what you're saying about the XG situation, because he definitely just plays like wing a lot of the time also. And, it's hard to get a lot of FPL points from the wing. But,
with Jesus in the team, I mean, that's what I like about him. It's like, that's when he's like almost out of position striker. He's really cutting in and donging. But yeah, there's nothing I could say. There's actually nothing that interesting I feel like to say about like Saka and Martinelli, but they're just good.
They're all
good picks.
You flip your coin or coins plural, and you hope that, in the first few game weeks you just get points and you don't get the guy that gets 2 points in a 3-goal game.
Right. Exactly.
Which, in and of itself might be a huge piece of information to listen to just get the cheapest guy. Like if it's that close.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or why is Saka,
the other thing to say, like,
53% owned?
Dr. Bradley, choose your metric, or you just get the guy on pens. Because it's just free points, right? Like that's the other way to look at it.
Yeah, is Penn's 0.5 more? Maybe we don't know how long you're gonna hold him. We don't know. Maybe this and that.
Yeah.
And then Kai. I mean, I just feel like Kai is a little bit of a piss take at 7.5.
It's not for now. Pick.
He's not a pick right now. He might be a pick, but we need actual games, not preseason games. We need actual games of data to see.
Yeah, I need to see him score goals. Not score goals. I need to see him take shots and do stuff and play a new position before I'm going to be like, he's an FPL
We need to
pick.
see what his position is. We don't even know what his position is.
He's playing left 8 as far as we know. And I'm just like, okay, fucking prove it. I don't know. I'm very much doubting. I still feel like it's a really weird transfer, right? It's like, love the player, just not sure if that's where I'd be like putting 60 million, but Arteta's proven me wrong many times before. I might do it again.
Yeah, which again, I mean, we've talked about him a little bit with Jesus last year, but I think it is to me more of just an admission that we can't lose or draw home Fulham. Like we need to overpower them, and having a player like him gives you that. Which they
and if Jesus gets hurt, we can't.
Last year. Yeah, we can't we can't put necktie in our season ends.
Which is the same as, Timber in a way. It's like if Saliba's hurt, if White's hurt, whatever, like we can't lose let that affect us. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
All right, let's touch on Liverpool. So they have Diogo J, 8 million, and Luis Diaz at 7.5. And then they have Soboslai at 7, which feels like not a pick. But do you see anything between Diogo J, who you've always loved since he came to your team, or Luis Diaz as a pick here?
Well, the you have to preface everything with neither are nailed, right? So neither are nailed. Gakpo's also not nailed. Darwin's also not nailed. So
Hackening is nailed. Don't come to
He's nailed at left 8 if Soboslai's hurt, apparently, because that's where he's played both preseason games. But between them, like if they were both starters, I don't think it's remotely close. Jota's a million times better pick. Actual million times better pick. He's
agree with that.
Just got so many more goals in him and even assists. I mean, he's just so much more of the FPL actions that you want. His underlines have always been incredible since he got to Liverpool. The goal return's always been very, very good for how many minutes he's played. And I mean, he's definitely one to keep an eye on. Also important, I mean, it's only been 2 preseason games. It might be completely meaningless, but he has not played wing this preseason. He's been only striker this preseason over Gakpo. When they're on the pitch at the same time, Gakpo's playing left midfield, weird fucking tweener position, and Jota's playing striker.
Yeah, I mean, there could be something there. That is the most interesting
he might be
point.
The fucking best pick in the game, and like it's crazy.
I mean, there is something about him that, even, I mean, I guess this was like before Darwin, where we have mentioned, best pick in the game with him before.
Yes.
Right. And he got a price drop, which you love to see. And, we do know, he likes to just score points when he's on the pitch. It's just the minutes, you're so scared and terrified of, is he starting or is he not starting?
Yeah.
And, if he is going to be putting Gakpo, where he wants him more withdrawn, getting the ball at his feet, dribbling at, finding space rather than being, in that like kind of Bob false 9-10 type of position. And he wants someone there who is just going to be making diagonal runs, threatening space for goals. And Jota, and he's like, I want Jota there. So, okay. I don't see how like Darwin, Jota, Mo, like that can't work to me.
It seems crazy. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's,
I feel
again,
like that's
the combination.
Home game only maybe type of thing where it's like we need to just
I mean, even still, it's like it just feels like it feels like the balance is off there. Like the big issue to me is I don't see how he plays with Darwin. I just don't see that, and that's an issue to me because, Darwin was signed for 100 million and is like a kid and has the upside ceiling of 30 goals in the league. And
he could just explode at any
Jota
point.
doesn't have that. I mean, Jota does not have that at all.
I mean, I don't think he has 30, but I do think he has 20.
Yeah, he's not available. He never has been, probably never will. So I don't think he's going to hit 20 in his life.
Yeah, it would be a weird year if he started 32 games or something. But
the pedigree and the talent and the, what they do. I mean, Jota's goals are really a culmination of the rest of the team doing all the things right and him doing the final action really well. Darwin can do so much more than that. I mean, he's a complete menace. Teams have to completely game plan 100%. For him. Jota just like, he finds the little half thing and the whatever, right? So, so I don't know, I still, though, all that said, I mean, this is like a more critique about Liverpool, like at large than just Jota, strictly speaking of an FPL pick. I mean, at 8 million, if you have some tea leaf that you're reading, that's like, he's going to start a couple of these games.
Get him. 100% get him.
Yeah. Cause he does have brace, like he braces when he starts, he's been doing that for a few years with Liverpool. Yeah. And if he keeps like kind of this fine fettle in preseason, just keeps it going at 8 million. I mean, he could creep into more teams. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, if he just keeps starting and donging in preseason, I mean, that's the kind of like bandwagon-y thing you could see, right?
And he keeps playing Gakpo,
right? Not
elsewhere.
There. Yeah, and it like all you need to look at is like his points per start, which are extrapolated out 200 plus points. Every season he's been at Liverpool. Yeah. That's what he's been doing per start.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what you're trying to get. And Diaz, to answer your question and Chester's question too, was asking about starting off with Diaz if we feel that he's nailed in the team. Like Diaz is very much not that. Yeah. I mean, he is a good player. I think he's really fun to watch. I think he does sort of more football things that are good than FPL things that are good. And he definitely doesn't have like a 20 goal season in him. He's not that kind of player at all. He struggles to get like a high XG shot. But like, yeah, I'm just not like, I love him, but I just don't think he's an FPL guy. I just really don't.
Yeah. A lot of outside the box stuff. And
yeah, he just like cuts in, crosses, cuts in outside the box. It's just not the same as like Jota, Darwin, even Gakpo, and they're just getting like big chances all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So Jota, interesting. I think Jota's similar to
very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's similar to like, shouting Perisic just a moment ago on defense. Is like he's in no teams, talked about 0%, should be starting to be talked about a bit more because for everything that Darwin does and shows, I mean, he's still raw. And Jota's low-key just been performing at a really high level whenever he's been fit at Liverpool since he arrived. Has done everything that you could possibly ask of him. And, I mean, he should be playing.
Yeah, the really big difference between Jota and Darwin, or Jota and really any other forward of the team, is he's the best presser on the team for the forwards. Right? Like that used to be Bob, Mane.
Yeah.
It's Jota now. Like, no question. He's a monster. Absolute pressing monster.
Great point.
And,
Darwin
Klopp even said that in the tail end of last season, was like, if you counter press, you're in the fucking team. Yeah. And Jota was just starting all these games, dogging for fucking fun.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I mean, Darwin's good at counterattacking, but in terms of leading the press, positionally knowing where to be, I mean, he's still, it looks like, has a long way to go on that. And, is probably a big reason why. I mean, this is like reminding me of like running backs in the NFL blocking. It's like, this gets you in the team, right? It's like, if you can't pick up the pass protect and you're fucking whiffing and getting your quarterback sacked, you're not playing the team. No matter
it's like the separation between fantasy and reality, right? Because it's like, you could see a running back in the NFL. Every time he gets the ball in space, he's the best thing ever.
People are we're losing, hemorrhaging.
Yeah, or a fucking guy in
cricket
rugby.
Batsman in the cricket.
Yeah, rugby man. You lateral him the ball and he makes everyone going to miss, but he doesn't.
It's a 9-darter and darts.
Yeah, he doesn't stick his thumb up someone's ass when you're crowding up. So it's like not good enough, dude. You have to get harder.
Delete.
You have to oil check him. Yeah.
Oh god! All right, City. So City have Foden at 7.5, Jack the lad, third season Jack 7.5, and then the Saudi bound Mahrez at 7.5.
Yeah, and Bill 6.5.
Yeah, well, he's certainly not going to work here anymore. Although he might still be working here. I mean, Foden, Grealish, both 7.5. What are you looking at there?
Yeah, Chester was asking, do we start the season out with Foden? And Danny wanted to talk about Foden or Jack because Mahrez, etc. are going. D Silva same with Bill going to Paris, Mahrez to Saudi, Gundo fucked off to Barca, Kev
PSG?
Injured. I don't know. He's rumored every fucking season. I couldn't give a shit about him. I mean, we covered a lot of this, I feel like, on the postmortem, where I just love Jack. Incredible player. Incredible fucking player. Not that great in FPL. Just not that great in FPL. Yeah. His best attributes do not translate to FPL points. Yeah. Whereas Foden is like directly the opposite. I mean, everything he does when he starts is just fucking dong.
Yeah. / direct dong.
Yeah. And like I was looking at Foden and like, I feel like people forget that he started the first 10 games last season. He had versus Man United. He had 6 goals, 4 assists in 10 games. And then City lost to Liverpool and he started that game. He then didn't start the next Premier League game. Then he started in Champions League. Then he didn't start Premier League. Then he started in Champions League. Then he didn't start Premier League. It was just like, holy shit, what a fucking nightmare. Worst pick in the game as soon as Champions League got really going. But early season, he was their best pick as outside Holland. And Jack was like not in the picture at all. And then he got like the fucking appendectomy and who the fuck knows what Foden does in his off time. I don't want to know. Well, I do, but we can't. It's too not safe for work to talk about on a podcast.
That's a different pod. It's a
different pod. That's an OnlyFans pod, but he's fucking phenomenal, dude. I mean, I don't know what to say. He's their Jota, right? Like, it's like if he gets minutes, if he gets starts, he's a 200-point player. No doubt in my mind. So if we have an inkling he's going to start, if they really aren't going to buy someone, I mean, he seems like a good fucking pick. Is that crazy to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the minutes are insane. Like, they would need to actually, because he's never played right wing. So I mean, I don't care what Bill does.
I know we had this exact conversation last season, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, this is
because we were talking about like, well, there's like Mahrez, Jack, Foden, Holland. That's it. It's 3 guys from 4, and we were talking like, but Foden can play any of the front 3, and I was just like, fucking hell, right back here again.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with Foden is like he does the left wing stuff before Jack got anointed, and then now we're talking about putting him in the midfield, but now Kevin's back. Apparently, he's not hurt.
Yeah.
They still, I mean, people are like, oh, Gundo's gone. That alleviates like a lot of minutes. they signed Kovacic. Like Kovacic could play fucking 3,000 minutes.
Nothing to do with Foden.
Yeah, well, they just people keep just talking about like they're gonna just drop him into the central midfield somewhere. Doesn't matter where, but I mean Kovacic is there. Like, and he wasn't signed to not play. He's fucking insanely good.
Yeah.
So he's just gonna fit right in and do all the things. So
to be
he's a
fair,
different player than Gundo, obviously Kovacic is, but he's just another central midfielder who's going to be competing for minutes. So where does Foden play? I don't know where Foden plays.
To be fair, according to heat maps, which are not faultless, they are inconsistent at best.
Hot maps.
They're hot maps. He did play right wing early season last season. He played right wing against West Ham. He played right wing against Sevilla. He played right wing against Wolves. Played right wing against Man United when he hat-tricked. Mixed in with some
before Bill and Mahrez.
Yeah.
All right. Bill was doing the midfielding. Okay.
So there's a little bit, a teeny tiny
precedent.
Teeny tiny bit of a precedent to be like, maybe he can. Maybe he can.
I feel like with Foden is right. We've been literally talking about and sucking his dick for like 3 or 4 years that he
deserves to get his dick sucked.
Best player in the team. You know, maybe not like Kevin's there or whatever, but
yeah.
I feel like there's got to be a better reason than whatever we've come up with for why Pep just hasn't fully trusted him yet.
It seems like the theme of this episode is separating fantasy from reality, right?
I mean, there's a reason. There are more reasons than what we're coming up with of why Pep has not just said, Foden's one of the best players in the team. He can do anything. I'm just going to play him somewhere every game. He's just never done that. Yeah. Even though when we watch him, we're like, why is this happening, guys? Like, look, watch this. Like, what could Foden's doing? I mean, whether it's just like tactical discipline or awareness or what, I mean, maybe there's something.
Yeah,
there,
I assume it's some off-ball stuff, right? Because it's like, it's very easy when you're good on the ball, I think as a viewer, and we don't rewatch the matches, right? We just watch live from 2 monitors, Discord, whatever. When you're good on the ball, all you see is the really good shit, right?
Yeah.
But maybe he's a terrible presser. Maybe he's bad at showing. You know, like there's so many things off camera that he could not be doing that just does Pep's head in. But we wouldn't really know that, I don't think.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, Foden is so divisive, and you know, I've played with him in and out of my team, but ultimately, I don't know. You know, I could see myself starting with him for sure, but I also could for sure see myself not starting with him. Jack 0% though. I just like you said, I agree with you. I mean, the thing with him that's problematic is that I still feel like he's like underpriced at 7.5 in the traditional sense of pricing, but he's not underpriced at 7.5 in like this year's sense of pricing.
Yes.
Because like, how is he going to get more points than, you know, like Bumo or whatever, or like Eze or someone who's like, he's a 150 point player sort of. Like, it doesn't matter. If he played 3,000 minutes, he'd probably get like maybe like 180 or something, but that's not the world that we live in.
There is a fantasy game where
dribbles and take-ons or whatever.
Like fouls, that kind of shit, fouls, progressive carries it in the box, all that shit. He's the best player in the game, but that's not this game. And you just don't get those points. And he doesn't get good shots. He barely shoots.
Yeah.
He creates a little bit, but he's not the main creator. It's just not. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah. So, all right. So, I mean, we're pouring a lot of water on here, but where are you at on Foden in terms of him being in your game week 1 team? Do you think like that's
I haven't actually tinkered him in, but
oh my God. Okay.
I think he is a great pick. Let me reword that. He's not a great pick, but I think he's all signs point to a very reasonable high upside punt. So if that's the way that you like to play the game and you think, I'm going to take this chance on this guy on my team, or this slot on my team, I should say, I think he's probably the best of all of these guys. And you're probably going to say Raz, but he's probably the best of all of these guys we're going to talk about on this pod in terms of his fucking upside, what he's done in the past, his points per start, his team, his fixtures. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're outing me.
Yeah, I'm outing you. Well, I listened to the Dr. Brad pod. I know Raz is on your mind. Hat-trick potential Raz.
Always is. I mean, he's 7 million. What's up with Raz?
And Mudryk is 6'5".
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I need to just get you a Chelsea kit.
I know. Oh my God.
When was Raz's last hat trick? Is actually a really good question.
He might not have ever had one in his life. I don't know.
He had it against Norwich in 2022. Easy.
So last year.
Fucking easy. Not last season, but last year.
Yeah. All right. So what are you seeing with Raz over there, a Razzie boy?
Again, it's very similar to Foden. I mean, he's a high upside, riskier pick in terms of the quality, right? Because there's multiple things at play here. He did legitimately fall off a cliff, which, obviously Foden hasn't. So there's a little bit of fear there. He's a lot of minutes in his legs. He started when he was really young. Chelsea were obviously fucking awful, which another thing that City don't have a problem with. So we're a little bit worried about that when you're betting on a team that has never played together, basically. So I don't like it as much because I just am like, are they going to get off to a fast start? Like, don't know, don't love their fixtures. I mean, the first two are tough, and then they have three really good ones. So maybe we're bringing someone in game week 3 or something. But, home Liverpool at West Ham, like, are those like high scoring, like, easy games? Like, even though I don't really trust Liverpool's defense, I don't think it's going to be like an easy game for Chelsea.
I need you to get out of like the first 2 games, and I want more abstract Raz chat.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Like,
is that
where does he
after
go
the
in
2
Poch,
games
within the Poch team? Like, how do you think he's going to value him? Do you think he's going to rely on him? Do you think he is actually washing up liquid washed player? What is Raz to you?
Yeah, it's very concerning. I don't. If I had to guess, I would say like he's not going to be an essential part of their attacking lineup soon.
So like it's going to be a phase him out as fast as possible.
I think he might get phased out. I think he's not a great presser. I think he probably doesn't have that much in his legs. He probably lost a lot of his quickness and his just speed. And if press is playing, if Poch rather is playing like a super high aggressive press, I just don't know if Raz fits that. And I think that the youth movement is looking good, right? Like they got guys who could press, they got guys with legs, they got guys who are donging for fun in preseason. Like, I don't know if Raz fits.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Killing my boy.
Yeah, he should come back to Liverpool or something.
Him. They're just fucking killing him everywhere I look. It's like the rifles are out.
But
it's
in a weird way.
I like rolled the window down. I'm like, hey, Lon, like Raz. And you're just like, shotgun. You're like,
double middle finger.
I'm fucking
I mean, it's in a weird way. I think it's like a blessing that they have 2 unattractive fixtures first 2 game weeks because you can just wait. You can just see what's up and then bring them in game week 3 for home Luton, home NFO at Bournemouth. I mean, 3 of the best 5 fixtures in the league.
Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at on Chelsea.
Oof.
Even though I do low-key kind of love Nico Jackson.
Yeah, he looks good. Preseason highlights look good. Yeah. Preseason highlights look good. Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I mean,
is he in your team?
Yeah, he's been on my team for like a long time, like weeks, way predating the Brad pod, Dr. Brad. I just feel like they need somebody who knows what the fuck is happening in this league playing in the team in attack. And they just don't have anyone that fits that bill.
They have no one.
Yes, I agree with you on the pressing and I agree with you on the pace. When he was at Liverpool, I feel like was never the fastest player with ball at his feet, like ball control, dribbling, like running away from players on counters and shit. But it was more of like the burst of acceleration of when he would get
really
it, like start,
quick.
Stop.
And he was really strong too.
Yeah.
Like he would use his ass and like bounce off a center back twice his side and like roll him.
Yeah. Like he was able, like Hazard style, to get his little ass trunks, like locus of control, so rooted in the ground that like there's no whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like, we see him. I mean, how many sitters have we watched him miss? It's too many to count, but I still just feel like he's also just an elite movement merchant. And
he is.
I still believe, while I do agree with you that he's lost a step or 2, I just feel like this squad with the youth is kind of like his team almost, like the attack. That
Right.
I think like they have Tilv in defense, who's going to keep all the little babies coming up, and maybe James for the 8 games a year that he's fit. But I feel like Raz, like I feel like he has to get the best out of him, or the team's going to absolutely collapse and implode in and of itself. Like you can't be playing a front of like Madueke, Mudryk, like Gallagher, Nkunku, and Nico Jackson, who's 22. It's exciting to talk about in like a FIFA or a football manager standpoint, but from an actual like these are the players that we're running at you with, like Ben Mee will eat them for lunch. And I feel like you need somebody like Raz to just be there. And I still feel like he has a lot left of a race to run.
I mean, I don't think he's cooked. I think his age, like he's not that old. I mean, he was 27 last season. It doesn't make sense that he would hit the cliff so much earlier than most people. But at the same time, I mean, City got rid of him for a reason. They moved on for a reason. They could have just had him for 3 more years, and they don't need the money. No problem there.
It could have been wages and personality. I mean, he's
it could be a lot of things.
But maybe a couple years of hardship after he's had the world at his feet have matured him. Maybe he's a little more humble now. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, it's
ultimately at $7 million here. I still just look at it and I'm stacking him up against again, right? Like players like Boomo or I think Foden is a close one because they both have a lot of unproven. In terms of this upcoming year of like, what do you want to believe? What are you going to believe? What are you going to bet on? But I think they have similar upside, in terms of like 200 point seasons. I just feel like Raz, I don't
preseason and how much you do or don't care about it. Everyone has their own opinion or whatever, or their own biases. Probably it's not even an opinion, right? It's unformed. But it'd be really nice for a guy like Raz to like be scoring some goals and looking good.
And by all accounts, he was like the worst player on the pitch in their last preseason game.
I didn't watch the games, and maybe I'll watch them back or something like that. But like, he's not donging and he's barely taking shots. And meanwhile, the other guys are like flying.
Yeah, but you don't love to see if you're a Raz backer. But there's still a few more preseason games from now till then, so we'll see.
Either way, the entire reason we're talking about him is because he's 7. And there's just no world where he should be 7. Even if he's bad and it's like, okay, they got it right. But there's a chance he's like a 10 million player.
Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, I think, talking about like Grealish or whatever, it's like when you are historically an actual premium price player, at least 10 million, and you drop this much, like he was 10, 11. We went over this, right? If he's fit, like what is his worst season? I mean,
if he's like a part of Poch's plans and plays 2,800 minutes.
Like, is he going to be the best player in the league? Like, what are we comparing him to also? Like, are we comparing him to the 234 point player he was in 2018 when he had 17 goals and 15 assists? And we're like, oh, he's not that good anymore. So,
and he's not on City anymore.
Yeah, he's not like, fuck him. Like, he's just not a good pick. Like, versus how does he compare to someone who just hits the post on Brenham?
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm totally with you, and that's why we're spending so much time on him, right? And even thinking about him after the season he had, and like, he's not nailed, and Chelsea are weird, and like all yada yada yada. It's because he's been so prolific. He is the opposite of Jack. Like everything he does gets points in FPL. Everything Jack does doesn't get points in FPL.
I mean, we're back to that metric. Like, what are you using? Like, what's so bad about a metric of if you drop by 3 million in price after you were this price for like multiple years in a row? That's what I want to do. I want to buy low. I just want to buy low stocks. This is a stock market. I want to buy stocks low.
I think
that's why I have him, or whatever.
I think you could legitimately just like not watch any games, play FPL by spreadsheets, and like look at that kind of stuff, and you would be right more than wrong, right? It's the same. It's the same way with different wording as me always saying I don't want to buy a player after the best season of his life. Right? Like it's the exact same. It's the same, and it's the opposite of that. It's like if they drop down fucking 3 million starting price. flag them. I'm interested.
Yeah. And Foden, price drop. He was 8 last year.
Bam.
All right, so I think the last I don't know.
There's so many more guys. There's literally so many more.
So many. Oh, we're going to 6-5.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we need to push 6-5.
Cut off at 7.
Yeah, we can't.
There's too many.
It's too much.
Yeah, because we can't start a Boomo conversation here.
No, fucking forget it. I'm gonna have to fucking.
So it's what is it? It's Bowen, Man United guys, and Spurs guys.
Because Bowen is very similar to Raz.
Ding, 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 ding. Flag alert. He fucking dropped by like 2 mil, right? Like he's very similar. He's a certifiable donger.
Yeah.
He takes corners.
I feel like Bowen's like great pick.
Yeah, I think he's a good pick. Yeah. I really, really wish they had a different manager. I wish the fixtures were a little tastier, but they're not bad. The first 4, I think you could actually argue, are pretty good for goals.
For attack, they're great.
For goals,
I think.
Yeah. At Bournemouth, home Chelsea.
They're great.
At
Counter-attacking
Brighton,
goals.
At Luton.
Great.
Yeah.
These are good Bowen fixtures to me.
Yeah. And, so you have to sort of decide, like, is he the Bowen of 2 years ago, or is he the Bowen of 2020 and last year, which are much more similar? And it's probably he was more like the Bowen of 2020 and last year, but maybe it's somewhere in between. And the team, we need to see who they buy, because they need to buy some players. Because as of now, it's fucking Scam, who doesn't want to be there, and Antonio, who's basically dead man walking, are his strike partners, and like, who the fuck knows what they're up to? They sell rice. They haven't fucking bought shit, but they might buy Gallagher. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, he's good. He's a good price. He wasn't even that bad last season. It was just so disappointing after the season before, I think, that people are just like, oh, he was fucking terrible. Like, he really wasn't that bad. And he was
bad for an 8-5 player.
He was bad for an 8-5 player, that's for sure. But we also called it on the postmortem after the 2021 season. It was like he had 17 assists. I think like 7 of them were like fantasy assists, like drawing pens and
rebounds
free kicks, and
shit.
like, and he was like way over on his XA, and so it was like, well, that's not happening again. But yeah, I mean, he's still like not even really in his prime, and he's a donger, and I like it. I like the eye test on him. He's good.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, to me, a 10 and 10 player. Right, like he should be around like a 20 return. He's fit, like that's like a 175 point player.
Yeah, I think he's in that range.
I see him,
and
the bonus points also exactly really.
That's in between, right? Like that's in between his 200 point season and his 140 season, right? It's
like the bonus points fell really unkindly for him last year. He had 15 returns and 9 bonus points, which is
they were
low.
In the relegation zone.
They were in the relegation.
Right, they were losing all these games. No one on the team was getting any bonus.
So, I mean, which is to say, there isn't really any reason to think that should change. I mean, they should still be a bottom 7 attack. I mean, the numbers from the attack and the way they play are so negative and pessimistic that, you aren't going into this season looking at, well, they could, like, that imagination of, oh, well, they can play this way, therefore Bowen could do that, which I think, like, with Raz, you have, right? You can
yes.
They click, Poch, attack, so many, like, Bowen will have very few chances, very few opportunities over the course of the season. If he's not taking them at a, over XG finishing rate,
right?
It's going to be a tough one. But ultimately, at 7 million, unlike 8.5, I mean, he can't not out earn 7 million to me this year. I mean, last year was as bad as I could imagine the results of end product. And he was 145. Like, he basically had 150 points last year.
Yeah, he's just like level with that value.
I mean,
probably somewhere around
that's
there.
Steady. That's steady.
I think it's like, there was a question. Maybe we'll get to it later, maybe not, because it's been like a 10-hour pod. But someone was like, should I start with like Trent versus like the 8 million mids? And like, I said this on the last episode, but it's not the fucking same, because Trent. You can go from Trent, who's 8, to a 4 or 5 defender, 3.5 million difference, and find a fucking steady top 7 nailed on starter who's good.
Yeah.
But like from Bowen to someone else who you're like, this guy's scoring minimum 150. It's 1 million, like 1.5 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing too with Bowen is like we saw him light the world on fire 2 years ago, where everything he did was just incredible, and I think there's something to be said about actually already have seen that versus like believing that someone can do that.
Yeah, believing it's possible.
Yeah, like we don't believe it's possible. He did it already. So it's just a matter of him showing us something he already has shown us for a small sample size. Right. So, who's to say that this isn't just he goes on another run of that, doing that for even if he's not Messi, right? Even though he's not the best player in the world, he's fucking Jared Bowen. But, he is entering his prime, like you say.
Yep.
It is possible that, maybe he does outperform that a little bit. I mean, 200 point season doesn't feel likely at all.
No.
But there's a pick here. Should this player be in 5% of teams? No. This is a better pick than that,
Yeah, I think so too.
And I agree with you. I think that even though there's 3 aways in the first 4 and they presumably don't look good on paper, and then City and Liverpool follow, they could still score, 9 or 10 goals in the first 4 game weeks, and he's part of half of them. And you're like, oh shit, like Bowen's just good again. He's 7 million and he's a good pick again. Right. So I mean, he's been in literally, I haven't seen him in a team.
I haven't seen him in a single team.
I think he's just a good
maybe
pick.
Jack has him or something like that.
Yeah, Jack Ladd probably has him. I think he's just a good pick. I don't give a fuck about the fixtures, honestly. I think he's just a good pick.
Right. Yeah, I think that's really fair. And I think he ended the season better. I could be misremembering.
The championship was over or something.
I feel like he just had some games where people were like, "Oh, Bowen," like Bowen's back on the menu out of nowhere, kind of thing. Yeah. And like maybe their doubles didn't line up, whatever. No one actually brought him in their teams, but like the numbers improved. West Ham played a little better. I mean, obviously they played better, right? They were in 20th all season.
Yeah, they didn't finish in 20th.
Comfortably didn't get relegated in the end, right? And
they had like 6 good games or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like he had I'm looking now. He braced against Everton, assist against Chelsea, assist versus NFO, assist versus Newcastle, dong versus Arsenal, assist versus Bournemouth, double return versus Leeds, and like that's what they needed. And like at that rate, he's a fucking good pick. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see too if he's going to be on set pieces again, because maybe Cresswell might be going. I mean, maybe he's on a little bit more because, they had issues at center back last year with being fit, but Moyes typically they do score a lot of center. I mean, the 17
he
assists,
likes a donger.
Yeah, the 17 assists season was there were some rebound goals, but there were also a lot of indirect set piece assists in that year. So,
and Bowen is also low key on absolute fire in preseason.
He's got like 50 goals.
Fun.
Yeah.
So
all right. So that last one on this. It's
the Spurs guys and the Man United guys.
Yeah, I mean Matto is the one I really want to talk to you about. So what do you 7.5 another fire alarm bells price drop?
Right. I haven't actually spent that much time thinking about Matto. Talk to me about Matto. Where have you been on him?
I've been thinking about him a lot. I mean, basically, it's just back to. I mean, it's back to just the engineering, right? Where he has these inside forward positions that just looking at him and getting perverted about the preseason stuff of obviously like the players I don't care about really, but just where they are positioned and for FPL standpoint, like who's gonna be doing the pointing, and if Matto is given license to kind of be that inside channel forward, whatever you want to call it, with his indirect set piece delivery. Potentially, if Kane goes, who knows what that means for more set piece delivery? Like he just suddenly,
if Kane goes, it's good for the record
for him. Yeah,
good for him.
I mean, but just where does he go? I mean, I feel like there is a 230 point fantasy in him. Like I feel like he can do that if he is fit and plays all year and doesn't like fake injury, so he could go get hammered for a couple weeks, which it seemed like he did another all the time. Yeah, like get more tattoos or something and not have to wear the fucking saran wrap on his dick. It just felt like he just did every year for Leicester. Like he would just mail it in and just pretend something, right? But I mean, why couldn't he have, a 14 goal, 14 assist year? Like I feel like he could do that, like Bruno kind of style.
Yeah, and I mean, he got close, right? It's not that just similar to the Bowen conversation. He had 181 in the 21-22 season, 12 goals, 11 assists, and he's always a plus finisher.
And he was down like 700 minutes that year.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're right in terms of like what he's done in the past. I don't know. I feel like he drives me kind of crazy. I feel like
you have a hard time with him. You've been high on him and then low on him.
Yeah, I'm high when no one likes him and I'm low when everyone likes him. I've always been that way with Matto. Like when he first got bought from fucking Norwich, I was like, dude, this guy's fucking amazing, and no one had him. Oh my
god, I can't believe he spent Norwich.
Yeah,
wild shout.
But yeah, I mean, I feel there's a little bit of me that's like, is his level the best player on a bad team? Or is his level like, I'm going to get better and play better and look better because the players around me are better? And I don't know the answer to that. Because like, whenever he was scoring a lot of points, it was like, I'm going to take bad fucking shots all the time. And there's nothing you can do about that. I'm going to fucking do crazy shit all the time. And sometimes I'm going to dong and haul. And I'm a good pick always because no one can stop me and I'm the best. And I take 3 shots a game from fucking 25 yards. And I'm just like, I don't know if that actually translates or like scales is maybe the word to like a better team trying to play a more like, I don't know, a not broad system where they're actually trying to like create good chances. But yeah, I like the player. I like his skill set. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to start with him or what Spurs are or anything like that. But yeah,
we'll have to circle back to Matto. I think that there's a lot more to be said about him.
I have to circle back to a lot of things on this episode. I'm just like undercooked.
Well, it's a good thing we have infinity more pods and hours to talk about.
Exactly. That's why I'm not fully in yet.
No rush. No rush, dog.
No rush. And then there's the Man United guy. Oh yeah, the other Spurs guys.
I mean, whatever, dude. Let's go to forwards.
Rich, Kulu, Mount, Anthony, Sancho. Probably nothing to say about these guys.
Fuck them all. Kane goes. We could revisit it, but at the time being.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we doing here? We're doing 7 and up. 7 to 8.
Well, 6-5, but we can mod it to 7.
Yeah, we're not
because we're running extremely long.
Yeah.
So we got to start with Jesus, I guess. He's 8, same as Martinelli.
We didn't talk about any of the 8. We did last. We did.
We did the same thing where as the pod got really long, we were like, okay, we have to cut this off.
Starting with goalkeeper, that's our issue. We talk about goalies too much. No one gives a fuck. But it's not
like, I think the same thing will happen. We'll spend like 45 minutes on forwards and then we'll be like, oh my God, we got to fucking cut off the defenders or something.
All right. Yeah. So Jesus, what do you see there? 8 million.
Yeah. Mishka said, what's your current outlook on Jesus? Darwin, who just claimed the number 9 shirt. Jesus, I don't know. He was in 85% of teams or something fucking insane at the beginning of last season, right? His price is the same or less. Yeah, it's 0.5 cheaper, right?
No, it's same. 8 million.
Same. 8 million.
Same.
Good team. Good pick. Don't like him as much as the mids. Just straight up. And a reminder of this was we were talking about kind of in Discord, like with Tio and shit, talking about people who didn't have him at the beginning of last season. And it was like mostly totally fine. He really didn't burn you. And then there was that one Leicester game where he fucking quadra returned out of nowhere. And that just absolutely murdered everyone. And I think scarred a lot of people from like not owning him. It was game week 2. So everyone who didn't own him got completely fucking railed. Rest of the season, it was fine. Yeah. It was a fine FPL pick. Nothing special, nothing great.
Yeah.
Not really captainable.
Yeah. He just ticks along. I mean, you could talk to me about his underlyings and his like underperforming of XG. This goes back to the Parcells thing. Is like when a player shows you who he is, believe him. Like you can fantasize about these, scenarios where, oh, well, if he only overperformed his XG for one season, he scored 28 goals. Like, okay, well, if that's what you want to subscribe to, subscribe our podcast on Apple iTunes, then start with him. I don't believe him to ever be that player. I've spent too many thousands of hours and too many games watching him play where he just is profligate in front of goal, that this is the player I believe him to be. So, all the XG and all the underlyings, like that just speaks more to me of like his best attribute. Again, it's like movement and finding space.
He's really fucking good.
Yeah, he's really good at that. And that buoys him to be an adequate FPL pick. And that's who he is.
Yes.
He does seem to me like a coverage pick in the Arsenal attack, like the type of pick just conceding to the fact that you don't want to have one up top and you don't like the other forwards. I think you should be using more imagination at this point in the game than just backing into like, oh, I'll just start with Jesus because he's safe.
What's his upside?
I think his upside is probably, something like a 15 goal, I think like Tony last year, like a 15 goal, like 9 assist year or something like that.
Yeah.
20 and 4, something like that, like a 22 return, playing all the games. And I feel like
staying
that's like
fit, which he never does.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a 4% outcome. Like that's like on the bell curve, whatever. Like that's like not going to happen.
It seems extremely unlikely to me that all of a sudden Jesus is going to morph into this great FPL pick who's returning all the time. Like I'm just like,
there's no step forward for him in that game. That's not who he is. It's not the kind of player he is.
And what I was going to add on top of that is like that's also not what they want from him.
Yeah.
It's not like Arteta's in the fucking meeting every week being like, dude, we need more fucking goals from you. Yeah. You're our striker. No, he does his job incredibly well, and his job doesn't involve being the primary goal scorer or the primary creator.
Yeah. Is he in the right position on the elbow or in the box? Sometimes, yeah, of course. Yeah. But no, I totally agree. Like what you're saying means a lot. Like right, the chances aren't the team isn't set up like, oh, we need to get our 9 scoring. It's like, no, we spread it around. And he's really bad at finishing and he's really bad at scoring. So, I want to get the players who are better at that than him. And, it's pretty much everybody else. So, yeah.
Exactly. And it's sort of the opposite of Ollie Watkins, who when Emery came in, he was like, dude, we need more goals, and you're our fucking goal scorer.
Yeah, stop pressing everywhere and running into midfield.
Channel running and just be in the fucking middle of the box and score goals. And he did.
Expend your energy here instead of there, and then that's what he did. So
and he's 8 million. And Ben reminding us, as I've reminded you as well, on the postmortem Walsh said, if Watkins is under 9.5, he's an auto pick. Is he still feeling the same after price and schedule releases?
He's been in for a while. I'm not.
I don't love that for you.
I started off with Nkunku there because I felt like that was just an error and a mistake by the game.
Yeah.
But Watkins, I feel like I want to be with my guys, and my read after like all of this time, and I've been like in and out of Watkins for years, like since he came up. Like I've had him every season for a portion, and he's driven me insane for portions of every season. But I do believe that he, unlike Jesus, has actual room to grow and improve on this front. He had 23 returns last year, which is like a better year than Jesus ever has had. That's
his better, and he ever will. I'm watching. I'm going to eat my words, but he won't. He just won't.
Jesus last year never stays fit. Last year he had like the most minutes he've ever played in the league in his life, and it's a joke, right? That and that on that front. So Watkins has room to be a 200-point player, like I said, at the end of postmortem last year, and I still fully believe that. With him staying on pens, like a Diaby in, they have just more versatility and more that enemies have to kind of plan for. How will Europe affect them? Very unsure, but
don't know.
I still look at those first opening fixtures as 3 aways, counterattacking, Everton and Burnley. Fine, I'm fine with it.
Also, when does Europe start again? I don't even remember. It doesn't seem like a big deal though.
Yeah, it's pretty soon. I think it's somewhere in September. I think, but these counterattack. Well, the team we were just talking about, what team in the midfield, the fixtures that look bad, but we were kind of talking ourselves into.
Oh, West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham, like sort of similar slate to that, where I could see them like just being like the talismanic counterattacker gets goals in those games, and they could maybe win a couple.
Yeah.
I still love Watkins as a pick.
I expect him to score goals.
A pen
at Newcastle.
Preseason.
I expect them to score goals at Liverpool. Those are their 2 worst fixtures, and I expect goals.
I just always expect them to score. Yeah. Like no matter who they're playing, I expect them with him on the counter to always be set up in a way, whether or not they're dominating the game or dominating possession is here nor there, but they will always have looks for goals every single game. And 8 million. I love the Watkins pick. So he's been back into my team, really since that initial pod, I think, when I was talking up Nkunku.
I love that. And I've played with him a lot too. Great pick, I think. Great pick. Like him a lot more than Jesus in the game.
Yeah, a lot more than Jesus. I haven't played with that. I haven't picked Jesus over Watkins for a second.
I haven't been at Jesus level at all.
But then let's back into Nkunku. So what do you were sort of down. I've been super high. So 7.5. What do you?
Yeah, I need to watch more. Maybe we'll do like a scouting vid for Patreons this week, and he's definitely one that I think a lot of people want us to look at. And Aaron, we should talk about Nico Jackson too. Aaron said, I'm going to start with Jackson. Tell me why I'm right. Harley Boy said Nico Jackson 0.5 cheaper than Nkunku. Central forward and Poch's system feels like a good bet to make on something different. Yeah, what I said last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess, I was just like, I'm just like not sure, right? It's a collection of strangers. I don't know how they're going to play. I don't know where Nkunku's going to play. I don't know if they're going to be good. I don't know if they're going to be bad. All of those things still exist, right? I think you have to like Bundesliga tax him a bit and yada, yada, yada. It's all the same concerns of just, I don't know where they are. I don't like their first 2 fixtures. Maybe we get him in game week 3. But Nico feels much. I think it's like trying to think of a way to say this, but I think it's like the shape of the player, the style of the player, where I'm like, Nico Jackson is just a normal central striker.
Yeah.
We've seen a million of them. He gets a lot of shots, he gets a lot of XG, and he scores goals. And like I feel like that just always translates. Like those guys are just always good, right? Like
he's sort of like Taiwo on steroids. Like
Taiwo, Mitro, whoever the fuck, like these guys are just good in fantasy. They score goals, the shots translate, the XG translates. Nkunku, while he's better and his ceiling is exponentially higher, he's weird. He's kind of a tweener wing. He's kind of a tweener 10 wing. Like he can do a million things, which I don't know which thing he's going to be asked to do. Yeah. Whereas like, again, Nico, he's fucking like 21. He kind of had his like breakout season in La Liga. Like he's just looking really good in preseason. I'm just like, I feel like that's just like more reliable in a way, even though he has a lower ceiling.
Yeah, I think to me, I agree with everything you're saying, but to me, there's also the other aspect of just Nkunku's been here, done that for a while, and he has shown at every level that he is an absolute best player on your team type of player.
Yeah,
and Jackson is more of a project to me of like
he will need one good year. Nico's had one good year.
He's fucking 20 in a farmers league in Spain, and he's going to have to deal with the physicality of the league. And Nkunku has had positional changes and played for some of the best managers in the league, very tactically adept. Watching him play, you just do a lot of different things. But he needs to be put in a position, like you're saying though. This is the same thing, right? Where Nico, you put him at 9, bam him at 9. Play him 3,000 minutes. He's going to get you FPL points from an FPL standpoint. He's going to get he's going to do the things because he's just good. Nkunku needs to be he needs to be put in a position to succeed. You can't put him in any team at the wing, at a 10, at a striker, and he's going to just shit points. Like that's not who he is. He needs to be surrounded and in the right situation. I think that he's going to have that with Poch.
Yeah.
That's why, to me, I think he's going to blow the fuck up and do 2010 or something crazy like that.
Right.
Because I believe that he is ridiculous player in the box. His control, his close control, his speed, his acceleration, his burst. Like he has so many things that so few players have.
Yeah.
He's basically like a good version of Raz, or what Raz was a few years ago, maybe. I think he's just a fantastic player.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm interested. I agree. But they're both interesting. They're both interesting.
It's always going to be interesting when a team has a complete like nightmare and change manager and change all their players and everything. And it's not that dissimilar to the Raz combo where I'm just like, I'm all eyes on Chelsea first 2 game weeks, and then maybe I'll get them game week 3. Right? It might be a fucking wild card game week 3. I need Nkunku and Raz. Who the fuck knows? Yeah. Who the fuck knows? But it does feel like a risk I don't need to take. And I'm not going to miss out on that much early doors. So I haven't been there.
No, just looking at the game, the ownership percentages, that's 1,000,000%. You're not going to really be too damaged. Like Nkunku is 20%, which is pretty high, but how many points can he possibly score against Liverpool and Western? Is this like double return? That would be very insane to imagine that. So,
without pens, like it's probably like,
well, he should be on pens though.
No, I just mean unless they get pens in those games, like it should be like he'll keep a lid on it, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But it's just so bizarre are that he's like, Jesus' percentage owned is double in Cuckoo's.
Yeah.
It's just
well,
like,
that's
Jesus.
again. I mean, this is back to the price drop. Like he was literally like, I think he was like 10 million in Champions League fantasy, and he was in every team. Like he was owned by like 30%, captained like by every team. So how the fuck is he 7.5 in this game? Like that doesn't make sense to me. He might have been more than 10.
Completely agree.
I don't remember.
It makes no fucking sense.
Because like
I wonder what he was in Bundesliga fantasy
or 10 or something. Yeah, he was probably like 11.5.
He's probably
something.
Captain every week.
He's like their top 5 player in the league.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, now I'm not a million miles away from 3-4-3.
I'm not either.
And Kunku, Holland. Like I as much as we've
everything's
been talking
still
about
in
the
play.
mids, everything's in play. I mean, I reserve the right to do that.
Yeah,
but
he golden booted last year. Well, tied for golden boot with 16. And then the year before that, he had 20.
Fine. But yeah. All right. So we have a little bit more to go. We have 2 more teams to talk about.
Newcastle and Liverpool.
Let's do Newcastle with Column at 8 and Isak at 7.5. So what are we looking at there? They're opening fixtures, just to also put that in there because it's important. Home Villa, at City, home Liverpool, at Brighton, home Brentford.
Bad fixtures. Not a great attacking team unless they get the lead. Not good fixtures to take the lead in. Don't know who's going to start. Harvey Barnes, does that push Isak inside? Does that mean Isak and Wilson are rotating? Who's playing right wing? Is it Miggy? Is it Murphy? I don't know what the fuck they're doing, dude. So, yeah, I don't think we need to spend too much time there. I mean, the one thing with Callum is when he starts, he gets points. Been that way his whole career. So, like, if it seems like they're just going in and just going to ride him while he's fit before he does his fucking calf or whatever, then like he's probably a pick because he fucking dongs when he's fit. That's just a fact. But I don't know. Talk about it in Game Week 5, Game Week 6.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
I think that's basically it.
In Liverpool, we have Darwin, 7.5, the Gak inning, 7.5. Take it away.
Yeah, so it's not that dissimilar, I think, to like the Jota conversation, right? Like these could break the game. There's a lot of players.
Gakpo's not breaking shit.
Yeah, probably not. Darwin could break the game. I mean, we probably say this about 20-ish guys every season, and then 1 or 2 of them maybe break the game, right? But you still got to talk about them. And yeah, I mean, Darwin could just absolutely take the league by storm and no one would be surprised, right? It's like, oh, he had the one betting in year where he put up like the same XG as Holland every week, and then he scored 25 the year after, and everyone would just be like, yeah, fuck, he's really good. So, don't know. Is he going to play? Don't know. Is he going to play wing? Don't know. Is he going to play 9? Don't know. Minutes, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to have some serious balls to go in, with an absolute minutes punt Game Week 1. I mean, that's, it's a lesser extent with Foden, like we were touching on, but, Darwin, Jota, I mean, are you going to be picking a player, even though they're not a fortune breaking the bank like they were last year, maybe, and you can maybe shield yourself with someone on the, I mean, it doesn't matter on the bench, you're going to sub on, but, looking at, like, do you want to have something with, like, Darwin, like, dreading the team sheet Game Week 1?
Doesn't sound fun, but at the same time, I'm like, is there a tactic of just having all of them?
Yeah, there is.
You just have Foden, Jota, Darwin in your Game Week 1 team, and you're just like, if they start, I'm popping off.
I'm flying. Yeah.
If not most players get 2 points.
I get 1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at like, well, then you get column. Like, if you're looking at like the per 90 shit,
right? Just you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're fit now. I don't know who's going to play, who's not going to play. I mean, I think they might play. You just roll as many of those dice out there as you want. Fuck Saka.
I mean, there's a world.
These fuck Bruno. Like, fuck all these guys who tick along, right? And just go for all these explosive options.
Just go for the hauls. Like, I mean,
why not?
You'll probably talk about this with LR, right? It's kind of his style of play, but it's like, if there's a chance that Liverpool's just rotating all season, it's just a nightmare. But that might also mean that like they all start 2/3 of games, and if you just have them and you get their starts and you're just great, it's great.
Well, it's also not to. I mean, yes, and also just to push that further is games they don't start, they still get to play 30 minutes.
Yeah, they still score all the time.
It's not an automatic 1 point. You're not relying on Harrison Reed coming off the bench for 1 or 2 points.
Hey, fucking don't rip on my boy, dude.
But you know what I mean, right? I mean,
yeah.
So just because they start in 2/3, if they are fit all year and then they play 30 minutes in the other thirds, that also adds up. So you're not taking total zeros.
Made a career at Liverpool of scoring off the bench. I mean, he does it all the fucking time, right? So there's something to that, probably. Just being definitely. Like, it's fine.
Yeah,
not going to sweat the team sheet because I don't care. Like, when they start, it's great. When not, when they don't, it's fine. No big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there's a huge juxtaposition with that, and like talking about, Watkins, right? Like Watkins versus Darwin. Maybe Watkins a little bit of a different case because he does have legitimate, to me, like 200-point potential, but it's just someone who is maybe a little bit less than that, where you're just like banking on the minutes, no rotation in a mid-table team.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like it's the way to think of it is like, it's like, okay, let's say I get 2,000 minutes of Jota and 1,000 minutes of my 4-5 defender who's first on my bench. Or something like that, right? Like the times he doesn't sub on, I just get that guy who's pretty good on a top half team. It's like, add those point totals together, I feel like it's good.
Yeah.
But I might be off. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you're going to have to get really lucky on some of these
subs,
or you need to catch the lightning in a bottle time periods and shit, and you want to jump off when it looks really likely that they're going to be subbing on more than starting, that kind of thing. But I definitely think like you're talking about, just as an exercise, who are the huge minutes risks, but also the huge explosivity players. I mean, there aren't a million of them in the game. There are probably
not
7.
a million.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool definitely is one to look at.
Yeah.
Even
traditionally it was Mahrez. He's gone, so now it's Foden.
Yeah, Foden. I mean, Alvarez. We'll talk about next week.
Next week.
I mean, I think like Perisic. Like it's gonna be like a little bit of a silly one.
That's why we're talking about that.
He's Rich, maybe. I don't know. We didn't talk about Rich, but if someone goes or something like that. But
totally.
Interesting one to just mull over and in this time to think about and tinker about. All right.
Oh my God, dude. That was
maybe a pod.
That was basically 2 hours. Yeah, there's so many other questions that I'm just gonna have to fucking keep backfilling them, and we'll do our thing.
No, we don't need questions on these pods.
No,
these pods
but
run
like
themselves.
Yeah, I agree. Let me slap asses. We got new signups, new Patreon signups. First video will be this Friday for the new tier, so good job by them. Eric Dinatale, Rob Jones, Matthew Locke, you and me, Steve V, Celery, and Jesse Barnes. Slop ass, baby, get in there. 2 hours. Let's fucking go, dude. We can do it. Any last words?
See you tomorrow.
Dude. Check us out at FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLFPL Sports Page.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, rate, review, and cheers.